Have you seen this video of Pierre Poilievre, official opposition leader? I don't know sort of the full details of how this came about, but in Eastern Canada, another roadside attraction, you may call it, with apologies to Gord Downey for invoking this, but among the Diagolon and Fuck Trudeau flags, mingles Pierre Poilievre with this group of demonstrators. He stops by, presumably he and his team driving by saw I don't believe that they targeted or headed out on purpose to this demonstration, but they saw it on the side of the road. You can see the Canadian flags flying upside down, et cetera, and spends a bit of time with this group.
He's just meeting with donors.
Promises them he'll axe the tax. Snaps photographs with them and the like. I think for most people, the name Diagolon, or this group Diagolon, may not be so familiar, but it's a group that's, if you Google it, you may be somewhat shocked at some of the things they've said on the record. On a live YouTube broadcast, the leader of Diagolon has talked about sexually assaulting Pierre Poilievre's wife. They've said some other obviously horrific and disgusting things. The RCMP has gone on record talking about Diagolon. And it's obviously got some eyebrows raised. The fact that Mr. Poilievre would spend any time talking to these people. Johnny, can we tee up that clip from the Prime Minister? This is interesting. So Justin Trudeau goes on the record. Now, obviously, there's political opportunity here for the Prime Minister when he sees this. So take that for what it's worth. But here's what the PM had to say after this video surfaced earlier this week.
Every politician has to make choices about what kind of leader they want to be. Are they a kind of leader that is going to exacerbate divisions, fears, and polarization in our country, make personal attacks, and welcome the support of conspiracy theorists and extremists? Because that's exactly what Pierre Poilievre continues to do, not just when you see him engaging with members of Diagolon, but also when he refuses to condemn and reject the endorsement of Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a proven liar and conspiracy theorist who has to pay hundreds of millions of dollars because he lied about the Sandy Hook killing that killed 20 little kids. This is the kind of man who's saying Pierre Poilievre has the right ideas to bring the country towards the right, towards conspiracy theories, towards extremism, towards polarization, towards the kind of lies that Alex Jones is peddling still. So the fact that Pierre Poilievre hasn't stood up to condemn that endorsement, the fact that he continues to encourage the kind of divisive approaches to Canada that I don't think Canadians want to see, really shows that he will do anything to win, anything to torque up negativity and fear. And it only emphasizes that he has nothing to say to actually solve the problems that he's busy amplifying.
So that's Justin Trudeau on the heels of that roadside visit of Alex Jones. Adam C. in our live chat meantime says, oh yeah, so says the most divisive prime minister in my lifetime, referring to Justin Trudeau. Is Trudeau onto something? Is this something he can hook into, latch onto, and turn this polling around? What do you think?
I don't know. No. I mean, I don't think that this is the thing. Are we surprised Pierre's hanging out with these folks? I mean,
they're donors. I guarantee you, I was only like half being facetious. I guarantee you the percentage of donors in that video were higher than the Canadian population.
He doesn't look overly comfortable with what he's doing, but he understands that, that's a part of his base. So I don't think we're surprised that he's spending time with, I mean, it's disappointing. It's a turnoff to me, obviously, but just is what it is. And then we start talking about the housing crisis again and, mortgage rates that are sky high and on and on and on. And people forget about that. They want to know what's in it for them. And right now, what's in it for them with the way they're voting is what can I afford? Can I keep the roof over my house? Can I keep more money in my families? And that's going to be more important than if this guy's, again, hanging out with some conspiracy theorists or, I'm not going to say any other people, but yeah. Yeah,
like the politics. I think you're right on the politics of it. Who does this appeal to? Who's going to switch their votes here? Absolutely. What's he doing stopping there? Who are these? These are some terrible people, and he shouldn't have been doing it. does that matter? Is that going to matter? I mean, you see it on both sides. It gets very partisan about who's being, seen in a picture with who and who's talking to who and whose combatants are being rude or mean to somebody on Twitter and the whole thing. And certainly, I think this goes a little bit further than what you would normally see.
Can you think of an example off the top of your head where the leader of another federal party has participated in something similar or put themselves in a similar situation?
No, I think this goes across that normal line, and he really should have, whether or not he thought, hey, there's some supporters and I'm going to stop in, and then he sees the fuck Trudeau this and the Diagolon flags, he should have probably not gone there, certainly. And I think I'm just speaking to the politics of it. Like Jetty said, is this going to really move the needle? Is people going to, change their views on him? I think this is somewhat baked in that these are his supporters. And I think that a lot of this non-issue based, who's saying what, Alex Jones, endorsement, I don't think it ever moves the needle, because I think it mostly speaks to the people that are already in or against him. And it's really the bread and butter issues around housing, around affordability, around inflation, that are going to, be the things that could move the needle. But I don't know, maybe the needle can't even be moved. It doesn't matter what issue they're
Interesting comment here from Kenzie, who says more people will vote for Pierre after the Alex Jones endorsement. Kenzie throws in an LOL, so I don't know if they're joking or not. I mean,
maybe, right? Maybe if you think about the handful of votes that went over to the People Party of Canada, right? And you're in competitive ridings. Again, the election right now, based on polling, it's not particularly competitive, but in a competitive riding, and they poll 5 or 7%. I mean, that's enough to maybe starts to swing things, right? And you don't want to lose those voters. And so maybe there's some strategy behind it.
Saucy Sea Witch, one of my favorite handles. I'll read the comments just so I can say Saucy Sea Witch. Says most of these people in the video are the same ones who've been gallivanting across the country complaining about the price of gas while hauling campers and driving RVs. Many have no real idea how the world works. Bunny Slippers says, I see Trudeau talking with voters all the time, and he actually does get in front of cameras. Poilievre waits for these roadside attractions and then posts it on Facebook. Yeah, some leader. Lou says, you are the company you keep. Like, it's interesting, right? You don't necessarily win a federal election by convincing everybody that you're the best choice. You just identify what you need to do to win, who can get you there, and then reach them effectively, right? Like, wasn't it remarkable before the last provincial election when Danielle Smith went on the record and basically revealed the playbook and basically said, I don't need Calgary to win? Do you remember that? Yeah. I mean, obviously there had been some strategy.
Turned out she did, so I don't know about that strategy, but yeah, she did say
well, but I mean, she lost Calgary and she still won. So in that context, she was right. The NDP won Calgary by the numbers, and Danielle Smith is the premier. So I guess she was right.
It was a pretty close call, though.
It was close.
Well, she needed seats from Calgary.
The thing is Pierre's going to have these voters no matter what, right? Like, they're not ever going to vote for Trudeau. They're not ever going to donate to Trudeau. Whether he stops and spends time with them on the side of the road or not, he's still going to have their votes.
Well, when Aaron O'Toole was the leader, they went and voted for Maxime Bernier potentially, right? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Like, that's the concern. Maybe when they're sitting in their strategy room, they're saying, hey, we can't bleed numbers off to the PPC, and the people that, the blue liberals, people in the center, they're going to ignore this because they're concerned about housing prices and they're concerned about inflation and they're concerned about these other things. And so we build a bigger tent by appealing to some of these extremists because they might go somewhere else, whereas other people won't leave our tent.